Oh wow, he's back.
Yeah, while he's back, we're back with our second. While he's back, we're back with our second division. He got excited. He tried to speak over the sick man. You can't do that. You're banned from this division. No, we're not going for your team. Just joking.
Mute this guy.
To Alex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The show won't go on. The show will just implode. But yeah. And also, Ed, you know, I'm going to go to you first because the Jazz are 4-0 this week. And they're 34-11 overall. They're currently still at the top of the West with a lot of changes that have been going on. Obviously, the Nuggets bringing in some firepower, LeBron going down. The Jazz have remained to be steady. Talk about what's been happening in Salt Lake City.
Yes, sir. So, three-week recap. 27-9 last time we spoke. Now 34-11, which means 7-2 in the last 9. Wowzers. Some Utah Jazz 2021 stuff there, right there. Last week they went, as Alex mentioned, 4-0, and during that sort of time period, those 9 games, wins against the Bulls, back-to-back against the Grizz, and they did also beat the Nets, but it was without Kyrie, KD, or Harden. So yeah, we won't talk about that too much. Some of their 2 losses were against the Warriors and the Wizards. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about Rudy Gobert, and then I'm just going to get onto some other stuff. So Rudy Gobert had a couple really, really big games. I'm not sure if this was part of Alex's stat line of the week. Was it? Okay, don't worry, I got you. A couple big Rudy Gobert games. He had 24 and 28 against the Warriors, which came in a loss. Andrew Wiggins had 28 points, but I mean, Gobert still did get 24 and 28, which is amazing. And against the Rockets, Gobert got 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 blocks. He was 1 block away from getting a block triple-double, which is, yeah. The beat writers were doing interviews with him, and Gobert had no idea that he was 1 block away until someone told him when he came back on the bench. He had no idea, which that's what we love to see. You're so zoned in that you've got no idea, sort of, and you don't care what's going on around you, which is what you'd want to see. Now, I want to talk about the game against the Wizards. So against the Wizards, there was some amazing scoring outputs. Donovan Mitchell had 42 points, and Joe Ingles had 34. Bradley Beal had 43 points, and Russell Westbrook had a 35-point triple-double, and the Wizards won that game. One thing to note is that Mike Conley was missing for the Jazz, so I doubt the 2 guards for the Wizards would have scored as much if Conley was there. Maybe they would have had a little bit less, so that could have been a bit tighter. The reason I bring this up is what Rudy Gobert said after the game. Rudy Gobert said, "We need to understand that we haven't accomplished shit. We're getting upset when people laugh at us on TV and disrespect us. It's on us to respect ourselves. We're not the champions. We're not a team that can just cruise and turn it on playoff times. We have to stay hungry." And I've mentioned previous times when we've spoken about the Jazz, I'm just waiting for them just to turn that switch and just have that real dog mentality, just feel like everyone's hating on them and just go out there and have a chip on their shoulder week in, week out. Of course, that can be hard during the regular season when it is sort of the grind of the season, as we know. But I just hope that they would have that mentality throughout the year and bring that into the playoffs. So I love the fact that Rudy Gobert said that, and he said it against the game against the Wizards after the loss against the Wizards, because in previous losses, the Jazz have been like, yeah, cool, a couple things here and there, we could have won the game, whatever. But this is the first time we're sort of like, you know what, we really need to, like, we have to understand we haven't accomplished anything yet. We have to remain at this intense pace to keep going. So I just want to highlight that point from a Utah perspective.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I'm glad he's come out and said it, but he's got to be about it now as well as saying about it. Another guy who has hit the ground running after the All-Star break, he was playing well before it, but is obviously their main man, Donovan Mitchell. Back-to-back 35-point games. But where he's really impressed me is his cuts, and he's drawing attention to himself, so he's allowing for more open shots, and you know that the Jazz can hit a lot of threes. He's also, I think Quinn Snyder's probably instilled this, he's getting a lot more plays where he's attacking off the catch, and we all know how explosive he is. Have you seen any major changes to Donovan after the break? Obviously, Utah Jazz slander, LeBron not picking them for the draft, we spoke about it before, but yeah, have you seen anything or watching him?
So since he has come back from the break, he's he's gone on the so-called the 50-40-90. Instead, he's going 50-45-90. So 50 from the field, 45 from three, 90 from from the free throw line, and he's also scoring 30 points a game, which is third in the league since the All-Star break. I actually want to talk a bit about a negative and something that could potentially hinder him and will be potentially the key going forward. So we all know during the bubble he had those amazing, it'll probably go down as probably legendary battles between him and Jamal Murray in that Nuggets Utah series. In the clutch, Donovan has been a little bit disappointing for the Jazz this year. He's shooting 33% from the field, 26% from three, and 77% from the free throw line. So it hasn't been anywhere where you'd want it to be for someone in his position, which is the primary wing scorer on an elite team in the NBA. He is a superstar. He is a superstar. Although it may not be traditional superstar as you may have seen previously, who sort of get to the rim as much as they used to, or have a mid-range game as much. A lot of his game now is based on three-point line and shooting. He is still an elite player in the league. However, the clutch numbers aren't where you want him to be, and some of his late game execution isn't there. So I think that is something to note for Donovan moving forward. But the thing is that Utah haven't been in too many close games this year. When he has, that's when he has been disappointing. But that's sometimes where you want to get some reps. How do you perform in late game scenarios?
Yeah, it's tough because you can't also be like, hey guys, look, we want a close game tonight, so let's ease up until we get to the fourth quarter. You know, but good teams, like you said, they can turn it on and off when they want to. Really interesting point about Donovan. Let's see, well, if he turns up in the clutch when it matters most. A team that was active at the trade deadline, I think, made a really big move. We haven't spoke about it yet, Matt, is the Denver Nuggets. They went 3-1 this week. They're 28-18 overall. They've got a chance to really make a push now because they're not as high as what we thought they would be. What is happening in the Rocky Mountains?
Yeah, all good in Denver. 28-18. They're now fifth, and there is some daylight now for them and the Blazers between 5th and 6th, and then the Spurs in 7th in the West. So that is very promising. And what is also promising is the fact that they're only 1.5 games back on the Lakers. And this is obviously a Lakers that everyone is aware of. No LeBron and no AD. So what could happen? I'm not going to make a prediction because I'll probably end up jinxing it. That's what I usually do. So I'm just going to say it like, who knows what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks, whether we come back and whether the Nuggets are 4th in the West, but let's see what happens. But yeah, 7-3 in the last 10, good run of form. This week, 3-1. So start off with a nice win against the Magic, in which Aaron Gordon does his little audition. Gets 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists before switching over to.
Ed didn't like it. He's
can I say something? No. There's something to note. So after the game, after the trade did happen, there was all these reports how after the game, Aaron Gordon said to Michael Porter Jr., I'll see you soon, sort of thing, like wink, wink, like, hey, I'm coming soon, sort of thing. And since the trade, AG's been a little bit of a bitch. Just saying, but carry on.
Oh,
see, I told you to like it. Continue.
He's been a bitch, but carry on going.
It's the finger. When Ed holds up the finger.
A little bit of it, but carry on, sorry. Just have to get off my chest.
All right. Save it when you're chatting about the Magic next time, okay? So yeah, anyways, the Nuggets beat the Magic 110-99. I don't know if you remember that, Ed. And they were 22 points up at the half. Jokic gets a triple-double standard. 28 points, 50 rebounds, 10 assists. So yeah, that was obviously Aaron Gordon's audition. And then what else is brilliant and what I love about the Nuggets is their loss this week. They even lose against the right teams. They lost against the Raptors, which is fantastic for me because it gives the Raptors that lovely bit of confidence. And they don't just lose a narrow game to the Raptors. They get absolutely battered by them, 135-111. So really encouraging for the Raptors. And then there's a bit of a duel between the Nuggets and then Zion and the Pelicans, in which the Nuggets prevail 113-108. Unbelievable scoring. Jokic got 37 points. Michael Porter Jr. got 25 and Jamal Murray got 23. And then Millsap off the bench got 16. So some really high numbers all around. But the main play from that game was right at the end where the Nuggets led by 2 points. And the Pelicans, with about 10 seconds to go, inbounded the ball, couldn't get the shot away, and turned the ball over due to a shot clock violation. So that was the interesting one. And then,
second time it's happened. Didn't take the shot. We had it with Alonso earlier in the season. Take the shot.
Sort them out, George. and then they beat the Hawks 126-102 in which is Aaron Gordon's first appearance. He starts, gets 13 points, finishes plus 17, 6 for 9 from the field, pretty good. And then Jermichael Green gets 20 points in 14 minutes, solid contribution. And Bol off the bench gets 8 points and is 2 for 2 from 3 points. He sets his career record for 3 points made in the game. So congratulations to Bol.
Let the man play. Let him play. Please. Yeah. With Bol, there's one thing he could help, and that's the Nuggets bench, because they've struggled lately. So I checked out how they're actually doing. They rank 26th for points per game off the bench, 22nd for rebounds, and 21st for assists. Now that Millsap has actually moved to the bench, and hopefully we get some Bol minutes, do you expect this to get better?
Yeah, I'd say so. Because Millsap has been contributing, so that's like he's averaging just under 10 points a game. So now he's on the bench. That's obviously going to help improve that. They obviously got JaVale McGee in the trade as well from the Cavs. So they've just bolstered their squad nicely. And I don't like the bench, in terms of like points, etc. But there are some tidy players on there, like Campazzo. He doesn't get the most points, but he'll contribute and he'll facilitate the floor well. So, yeah, I think everything's promising in Denver right now. There's obviously a few tweaks that can be made, but there's no reason why they can't go deep in the playoffs, and that's why they've gone and bolstered the squad now in this with the trade deadline and getting Aaron Gordon and JaVale McGee.
Just a quick note: the reason that Ed thinks that AG is acting like a little beep is because Aaron Gordon is wearing the number 50. And I think that is because it is the dunk contest, which is a weak move, man. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Pick any number.
It's one of those places. He says, I want to be remembered for doing stuff outside the dunk contest. But you know what? I'll just give myself number 50.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, man. I'm not a fan of that. But I will say this, Matt. Do you think, quick answer, yes or no, Nuggets are the best league pass team to watch now that they've added Aaron Gordon?
I'd say they're one of, yeah. I'd say they're up there. They're exciting. They're an exciting team, yeah.
All right. Say no more. George, we're back again. We're talking about your team. That's it. The Blazers, 3-1 this week. They're another team that also made moves last week as well. We haven't spoken to you about that. You've acquired Norman Powell. You're 28 and 18 overall. Talk to me about your Blazers, boy.
Oh yes, it's been good. 3-1, 7-3 in the last 10 overall. Like this is the Blazers, man. And Dame time? No. MVP time, my friends. MVP time. That's what I'm saying. Lillard has knocked down that door, and he's comfortably in those MVP talks, which is lovely to see this year. As you mentioned, we acquired Norman Powell and got rid of Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood as well. When I first heard about the trade, I was kind of unsure, because mainly for me, like, I love the trades which make like a drastic jump up. So with that, when I saw that, I thought, well, that's a bit kind of just stay kind of level. But seeing his past couple of performances, I kind of understand and see why we made that trade. He gives that defensive boost, and his shooting from free. Oh my goodness, his shooting from free, especially against I think it was the Toronto game where he went like something like 7 and 13 from three, from deep as well.
Points.
Oh my, yeah, 22 points ended. It was so good. No. And did you see that inbound save from Anthony as well, where he just whipped it behind. Oh,
very nice. Very nice.
It was so good to watch. And I have to give props because, like in previous game, obviously Lillard was out, and we started with some of the our bench players instead, and give them a chance to run around. And it was great to see that ball movement without ball dominant like player. No offense to Lillard, like I love Lillard, but it was nice to see that different strategy of more of that team play to show that we do have that chemistry and we can play like that. And yeah, it's been good set of wins. Miami, Orlando, Toronto. Yeah, and of course we lost to the Thanos team, the team that should not be named, the Nets. But you know, I have them for now, so hopefully
it's a win-win. But we head to that game because that is where I get my stat line of the week. Enes Kanter, he went 19 and 19, so 19 points, 19 rebounds, 6 assists, but he had 10 offensive rebounds. So the man almost had like another triple-double inside of a double-double. Madness. And I was looking at the box score. This guy does this every single night. Do you know how hard it is to get an offensive rebound? Anyway, I blew my mind. With the Blazers, I was doing some research on how they've been doing after the All-Star break. You know, they've been making a push. This is crazy. The Blazers, after the All-Star break, they ranked first for offense and last on defense, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So you've got 2 players you've brought in now, Norman Powell and Nurkic. On the defensive side of the ball, who do you think helps them more?
Ooh. Well, obviously Nurkic is coming back and working up to get back to where he was. So for now, for me, I'm going to say Powell, mainly because that fitness is there and he can add that extra boost while Nurkic is still getting back in, especially with those minutes restrictions. So I think Powell, from that perspective as well, was a much needed trade on that defensive end, since as defense is something which Blazers have been struggling with continuously over the past few years, which is something which we've been trying to look to fix. So it's a nice added boost for us on that end. So I'm looking to see those improvements in the future as well.
Yeah, we will see if that talk starts to pipe up and hot up even more with Dame in the upcoming weeks. Let's head to a team that we talked about who wasn't a preferred free agency destination. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't want to go there if I was choosing the team to play for. And I don't think this is going to be really exciting to talk about. I'm really sorry, Timberwolves fans, but it's not good, okay? The Rockets went on a 20-game losing streak. You still haven't won as many games as them. That's bad, okay? 1-3 this week, 11-35 overall. Bray, we do grill you a lot on here, but I actually feel really bad for you because you didn't choose this pick.
I mean, I was left with them. I should have tried to avoid them because of my deep-seated hatred for Carl Anthony Towns. Although he's had a rough year, so we'll cut him some slack. Yes, so Timberwolves 4-6 in the last 10. Somehow they are still worse than the Rockets. I don't understand it. You have to actively try, I feel like. It's been insane. I have talked before about their defensive struggles and the fact they're always going to have defensive struggles. But their offense has also been really, really bad as well. They can't seem to do anything right. They've changed coaches. They chased after John Collins really hard. Trade deadline, didn't get him. However, they do have Malik back from his suspension after the indiscretion that we discussed earlier.
Yes.
So yeah, that's good. He was really rough in his first game back though, to be expected. But he's a good scorer. So you hope their offense can improve. But the main thing that I found out this week about the Timberwolves, and one of the reasons why they're so bad, is because in first quarters they get outscored on average by 13.4 points. So it's like every single game you're basically playing from behind. It's so weird. Literally, first quarter get waxed every time, and it's like, oh, this is over.
But Bray, you're forgetting. So let me just take you through this week. Thunder, they lose 103 to 112. Then they lose against the Mavericks. They lose by 20. Then they lose the second game against the Rockets, and they lose by 22. But in that Rockets game, they went on a 22-0 run to finish the game. So they would have lost that game as well.
Yeah, it's abysmal, and the only thing that I like them doing is they are riding Anthony Edwards into the ground. He's gone up in minutes. He's playing 35 minutes a game now, and they're like, go out there, make all the mistakes you want, because they know, obviously, they're not saving this season. They're not getting back into the play-in tournament. So let's at least get him those reps. And, you know, Karl Anthony Towns is a shadow of his former self. In the last 2 seasons, due to injury and obviously other circumstances, he's just regressed. It's not by a lot. He's still like a 20-10 guy. He's still, I would hope, can be a superstar, the sort of guy who can be a superstar. Everyone kind of looks at him in the same vein as AD, but he has regressed, and you hope that he can get himself right, finish out the rest of this season strong, and then really this team isn't going anywhere unless he is an MVP candidate. So that's where he needs to get to.
Let's speak about Cat. So a couple of milestones for him this week. He passes Kevin Love for second in all-time for rebounds for the Wolves, and Wiggins, he passes him second in scoring for the Timberwolves in franchise history. Not gonna, by the way, also number 1 on that list. We can all guess who is number 1. There's a massive gap. Let's just say that he's got to double it and then some to catch up to first. But Bray, I'm gonna talk about Cat. You spoke about him a little bit and what you think he is. Where does he rank for you amongst centers in the NBA? I mean, can you give me a list? Give me a list. Who's number 1?
As you say, we've got, obviously, I'm going to put Jokic 1 because Embiid's injured. I might change it around, whatever. Embiid obviously is up there. Rudy Gobert is up there as well. I think you have to talk about Vooch, who is obviously one of the best offensive centers. I think you have to talk about Nurkic when he's healthy as well. He's got some of those Jokic-like qualities. I would definitely say that when he's healthy, he's probably better than Cat. I think, who else? What other centers? I mean, you know, if you call Bam Adebayo a center, he plays a lot of center. I would definitely rather have him over Cat. I'd say he's been performing better. So yeah, one of the things about a lot of these centers is they are very big, lumbering guys, and I think that's somewhere where Cat could edge them out in a similar way to AD. Like, AD will go out and guard perimeter players. Obviously, we didn't mention him in the center conversation because he does like to play that power forward role a lot more. It's only when we go to the depth lineup that you start to see him as the center. However, I think we might see the likes of AD and Cat coming in, playing more center as we move forward, because there are fewer elite centers that everyone's playing all the time. If they don't have to bang, then they can easily play the 5 position. And if I think about who can Cat kind of overtake there, you need to get on the same level as Bam, because Bam's only getting better. And then he, you know, really needs to start increasing in defense and in facilitating as well if he wants to catch anyone, because that's something that basically all of the guys we mentioned do better than Cat. So he's got to find what his niche is.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can turn it around and get there. Let's head to the final team in this division. My second team. I'm actually, it's not really linked. I'm rocking GP Sonic stuff. We're talking about the OKC Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite team to watch. They have nobody on this roster, and they have 19 wins. Absolutely. I don't know what to say, honestly. 1-2 this week, Wildy. 19 and 26 overall. We can't see you, bro, but I know you're excited.
Absolutely, yeah, man. It's nice place to be in if you're an OKC fan, to be honest, because you've kind of got the best of both worlds, and that they've overperformed from expectations. Yet at the same time, they're in the rebuilding process and have a lot of young guys that are, you know, exciting to watch, and you look to see how they'll develop moving forward. So you know, the week in itself, they won one, lost two. They lost to the Celtics because in the fourth quarter they went on a 27-6 point run. So yeah, if you're given that sort of run up to anybody in the fourth quarter, you're probably losing. Grizzlies, Ja Morant had his way. He's Ja Morant, and when you're playing a bunch of young guys, they're going to have their mistakes. And when you have people that are a bit more experienced, they're not going to pull out as many wins. At this point in the season, they've got to 19 wins. They obviously know they're not going to be making playoffs. They never expected to. They were under no illusions. But now they're going to be doubling down on the young talent they have. They're culling all of their older guys. So they got rid of George Hill. He's gone to Philadelphia. They got Austin Rivers in the George Hill trade, but they have now waived him. And they have now decided to sit Al Horford, which from everything I've been reading, sounded like it seems like it was always going to be the plan. Al Horford, after this year, has 2 years left on his contract at $53 million. The plan is to eventually trade him, something that works for him and a team that works for him in the later stage of his career. But they have not been shy in stating how valuable he's been to the younger guys. The rap on him is that he is a veteran leader, and he has been amazing for them. On this team, he's averaged 14, 6, and 3. So those are really good numbers for somebody at his point in his career. But they are looking. But for the betterment of the team, they've decided that it's going to be better for him to sit. So one of the more notable players that they have signed on young guys, 21-year-old Moses Brown. He's appeared in 16 games so far for the Thunder. He's had 5 starts. For them, he's averaged 8 points, 7 rebounds, and over 1 block a game, and that's averaging like 17 minutes. This week, though, against the Grizzlies, he got 19 and 12, and against the Celtics, he got 21 and 23. So he's putting up big numbers. So my comparison, in terms of, we love comparing guys always. If you picture Rashawn Holmes of the Sacramento Kings, but 4 inches taller, and at the moment, he's only 5 kg heavier, but he's 21. He's still gonna be growing. So yeah, he's looking really good. All I'm saying is he's a real fluid kind of player, and I think he's going to do bits. I'm actually really excited about this signing for them. They've just signed him to multiple years. I'd like to see how he gets on. But yeah, I mean, they're a crop of young guys, really exciting dudes. Poku has been getting more minutes. His numbers have been going up as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing. And of course, SGA at the helm, getting 31 points against Minnesota. It's another day at the office for him. In the win.
A couple of notes I have on the Thunder. They are the funnest bench team to watch. Love SGA, always on the bench getting hyped. That's really cool. You spoke about Al Horford, but I just want to take you through this because I'm not excited about Moses Brown. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm the fool that drafted Al Horford for my fantasy team. So I lose to Ed, and then I get the notification because it comes up on the phone. And it's, Al Horford chooses to sit for the season. What do you mean, Al? So you get max contract for Philly, and now you pull this. Okay, that's 2 strikes, Al. Don't make it a third. Okay, I'm not happy with you, Al. But also, he's living the life, man. Max contract doesn't get to play basketball. He just has to practice. Yeah, he's on some Pitbull vibe. Somehow getting these unreal numbers. But yeah, great notes about the Thunder. Guys, let's just head to the leaderboard. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. Right, let's go from bottom to top. No, we always do that. Let's go from top to bottom. That's what I meant. Okay. At the top, still he's clinging on, but I think the gap has increased a little bit. House Lasky, 156 to 116, 57%. Your best team is the Jazz, take note. And your worst team is the Magic. House of 03, George, second place, Still coming in strong, 151 to 122. You're at 55%. Your best team is the Brooklyn Nets, the Thanos. Damn Thanos. Sorry. I'm just really sorry about that. And your worst team is the Bulls. Yep. Hopefully they turn that around. Third place, we've got Parantic Express, 140 to 131. So you're comfortably over 500 now, Wiley. So that's pretty good. Yeah. Your best team is the Sixers by 1 win, and your worst team is Detroit. So we still got the Philly cheesesteak. Lancashire Lambeer slotting in at number 4, 122 to 139. Sort of dropped off this week. You're at 46%. Your worst team is the Washington Wizards. How the Cavs and Raptors are very close. And your best team is the Denver Nuggets, who I expect to go on. And then last place, bro. You know, you said to us, you're in the 400 club. That's not a good thing. 101 to 162. Your best team is, oh my God, the Boston Celtics, and they're only at 500. And your worst team is the Timberwolves, dude. This is bad.
Honestly,
yeah, go on.
Being below 400 is absolutely painful. The only reason I'm currently over 400 is because the Kings are like sneaky approaching 500.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, Bray. I'll send you a
21 and 25
playoffs t-shirt when they make the playoffs.
I mean, they should now, but like
we're going to see how if you can survive that, bro. Because I'm coming for that 5th spot. The tanking is on, baby. I want that 5th spot. Yeah. That wraps up Southeast and Northwest divisions. Thank you to my GMs. For all your points. We continue to plug away as we get closer to the playoffs. So from myself, Sick Man, and all the other GMs, it's over now.
Ciao.
Thanks.